Hello, fifth graders. Welcome to your next art lesson. This lesson is for the art fundraiser that we are doing with the PTO. Again, it's that awesome art time when you can order your stuff on some cool swag. A new thing that they are adding that you can buy this year is a mask, so that's pretty cool. For our project, we are going to be doing some radial art symmetry with our name. Well, with your name. So, what you're going to do is, first thing is your paper is rectangular. So you have to start by getting a square paper. I like to do that by taking my paper and kind of matching the edge up, coming all the way down, and then from here, first sliding out this way, so that way my crease is as close as it can be. It doesn't have to be perfect. This will still work if it's not perfect. Alrighty, so then you are going to take your scissors and you're going to cut off that extra piece, because again, we are working with a square. So you may go ahead and you may cut that off. I like to use my helper finger like this to really make that flat. Alternatively, you could have taken a pencil and drawn a line. Whatever works easier for you. Okay. Now next, what you want to do is you want to open your paper and you want to prep it. So you're going to kind of fold it the other way. And again, pulling down these creases. Alrighty. So now you should have lines coming from both corners. And then you want to do your halves. So again, kind of matching up your edges here. Holding in the middle, pull down, slide it over, pull down, slide it over. And then again this last way, folding it in half. Pinching it, pulling down, sliding over, and sliding over. Alright, so what you're going to have created is you're going to have created little triangular sections. So you're going to start this lesson working in one of these little triangles. And then using our black crayon, we're going to do some crayon rubbing to help make the symmetry happen. Probably the easiest way to do it. So let's get started. So the first thing is you're going to write your name in boxy letters going across the top here. Now, I like to think of either a nickname or my name is short. If you have more than 5 letters in your name, again, it's going to get tricky. So kind of maybe think of a nickname. When we have our final piece, let me show you what the final looks like. You're not really going to be able to tell what name you had, so don't feel super like stuck on the letters. So again, it turns into design, but I did do Carrie. You can see my K-E-R-R-Y, but you probably wouldn't have noticed that unless I pointed it out. So since I already did a Carrie, I am going to do one for my last name, Flaherty, which is a challenge because obviously Flaherty has a lot more letters. But how you would start is just doing some lines is going to make sure that you have enough space. So along this line here, that's what we're working on. You don't want to have a line there yet. So it's this diagonal. I'm going to do one for F, L, A, H, E, R, T, Y. So again, that's really smudging it in there, but it's going to be, it'll be fine. So after you're happy with your spaces, again, F, L, A, H, E, R, T, Y, 8 letters, That's a lot to fit in there. I would really suggest trying to find something that's 5. A nickname is always good. You could do, if you do really big, you could do your first initial, your middle initial, and your last initial. But again, I'm purposely doing a challenge just so those of you who try to do all these letters can see what it looks like. All right, so you are going to kind of use this as your border. So you're only working in this triangle space. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of write my name out. So I'm going to go, and you are using this line. You want your letters to touch this line. So I'm going to have my first F go up like this, and my next down like that. Then my letter is going to, my L, and we're using capital letters. That's going to be the easiest way to do this. So my L is going to go all the way up here and on the line. My A again. My A is going to want to kind of come all the way up here, and your letters are going to look funny, and that's okay. And again, your H, well, my H. And you're going to use this line here. So again, we're using this line as our letter former and this line as our letter former. So F, L, A, H, E. So I need my R. Again, right against that edge there. And then my T. So and then get that Y in there. All right, so now we have our regular letters, but we want box letters. We want these spaces to be colorful in. So I'm going to go around my letters, and again, having a sharper pencil is going to help you with this step. Mine's a little dull. I'm going to make it work, but if I were you, I would make sure you had a nice sharp pencil for this step. So again, when we're making our box letters, what we do, we always trace around our first step. Again, you can erase that inside. So again, we trace around. And if it's bugging you, you can always go back and kind of just erase those insides. Okay, we'll come down. There's my E. Now, it will also be a lot less work if you're picking a nickname or you're using your initials. It gets trickier when it gets skinnier. R. Bring T down. And we'll sneak in a mini baby Y over here. There we go. Okay. So that is my letters. Now, if your black is not brand new, it's going to be tricky with it being as chunky as this. So if you don't have a crayon sharpener, what I am going to suggest is you follow this next step, because you really want your crayon to be sharp for this. So just grab some scrap paper. It can be lined paper, it can be something that you're going to throw away. And what you're going to do is you're going to color a lot on one side Basically, you're just kind of using up the crayon to get that tip back. And then on the other side, same thing. And so that's going to kind of chisel it back out. And you can do until you kind of get that tip back in there. Again, you have a crayon sharpener, this will make this step a lot easier, but this is basically using your paper as your crayon sharpener. Alrighty, I have a good tip there again. So now you're just going to be very careful, and you're going to trace over all of these pencil lines with your crayon. Now, the more letters you have, the harder it's going to be, but as 5th graders, I know you'll do awesome. And again, don't get super upset with the line work that we are making because again, you're not going to really be able to see the name at all. So important thing to note though, you're only doing the line on the sides here. You're ignoring whatever fell on this side and whatever fell on this side. So you're just going to do the sides, which should help with this crayon thing that we have going on. But and then again, anything in the middle though, you're going to want to grab as well. Sorry if that was confusing. Okay, but I'm not doing anything that touched this line, and I'm not doing anything that touched this line, because those are kind of connect as your pieces throughout the... If you accidentally do it, it's not a big deal. Bring it on down. Up, over. There we go. Okay. If your hand gets a little tired, feel free to just give it a little shake. It is a lot of crayon work, so it's okay to kind of take breaks in between. I do have this as a 2-week lesson, so please take your time. Awesome. Alrighty. So after you get your first triangle outlined, don't worry about going in and erasing. You're probably going to smudge the crayon. When we go into color, we're going to color with colored pencils or with markers. You can kind of pick. I think the markers look the coolest against the crayon. But again, if you're using colored pencils, feel free. But again, you need to do dark colored pencils. Light colored pencils aren't going to copy as well for our fundraiser project. We will get over that when we get to the coloring. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to kind of fold it here on this diagonal, and then markers work really good for this. You're just going to kind of smush them together, and basically you're just transferring that crayon from one layer to the next. You can see it's starting to pop through. And you just need it to pop through enough that you're going to be able to know what to trace. It's not going to go through perfectly. Sometimes I find using like the actual tip and really scraping, but be careful, you don't want to rip your paper. All right, that should be good enough for me to kind of trace what I have. So, so go ahead and trace with crayon.